Hi, folks. This is Daniela Cambone, and welcome back to StansberryInvestor.com. Before we start today's segment, though, I want to just share with you a report that Stansberry Research has put out that I highly recommend you check out. With most investors going about life investing and retirement planning as if nothing unusual has happened to our financial system, not realizing the repercussions of the 11 trillion that's been pumped into the US financial system in the past 18 months alone, it's particularly a good read at this moment in time. At least 4 billionaires have stated publicly that Americans aren't paying enough attention to this development. And now a former Goldman Sachs banker says sooner than most people think, millions of Americans will potentially be pushed down out of the middle class, out of private retirement, and out of a decent life based on independence and privacy into a collectivist nightmare he calls financial lockdown. So find out how to protect yourself, your money, and your family with a free copy of his new report. In it, he'll show you the 4 steps he recommends you take immediately. You simply have to go to www.wakeupcall2021.com to get a free copy of this report. Again, it's www.wakeupcall2021.com. Get your free report today. It's a great read. All right, that said, welcome back to StansberryInvestor.com. My guest today is Jordan Freed. He is the founder of Immutable Holdings that just went public on Canada's NEO exchange. He's also the owner of the parent company NFTcom. So we're going to be talking all things NFT. And he's also one of the earliest angel investors in Hedera, HBAR. So I'm thrilled to be speaking with you today, Jordan. Welcome to my show here at Stansberry Investor.
Daniela, thanks for having me.
So we have a lot of ground to cover with you. But first, Jordan, I have an elephant in the room I need to clear, basically, because I know Kevin O'Leary is an investor in Immutable Holdings. You're doing a lot of great stuff together. He's also a frequent guest on my show here at Stansberry Investor. And when he paid us a visit a few weeks back, there was a clip in the interview that went viral on in the crypto world, let's say. And I want to play it for you, seeing as you are one of the earliest members in HBAR.
In this clip, the billionaire Kevin O'Leary almost slips up and mentions HBAR, the elephant in the room.
Crypto, it's not just betting on the price of Bitcoin anymore. There's so many other ways to invest, particularly in blockchain opportunities. Solana, Ethereum, there's so many different level ones. And then, of course, level twos.
So I want to play that because, a crypto TikTok star caught that. And it's funny, during the interview, I didn't hear him say H, but the audience obviously picks up on these minute details better than I do. Jordan, you know Kevin well. Do you think he was going to say H-bar?
That is the $1 million question, isn't it? Kevin's become a really good friend. Obviously, he's a strategic investor in Immutable Holdings and NFTcom by association. It's one of our portfolio businesses. First, before I answer the question, crypto is so tribal. It's amazing that you can have an interview here on Stansberry Research and then someone on TikTok discovers that. I have been having conversations with Kevin about HBAR. I can't speak to whether he has it in his portfolio or not. I'll let Kevin answer those. But Kevin is well informed, and I got to say I'm very impressed with Kevin's understanding of crypto and blockchain technologies, especially given how skeptical he was initially and how much he's come around. So Kevin does know what HBAR is. He probably was about to say it, but I'll let Kevin answer that one.
And I won't, and it's not fair to have you speculate on that, Jordan. But I thought that was fun to bring up just because I got so many emails about it. So okay, there you go, folks. Maybe Kevin was going to say HBAR. We don't know. Let's talk about Immutable Holdings now. And I want to talk about your career and how you got started because you have a really interesting path here, career trajectory here, Jordan. So Immutable Holdings, you just went public in September on Canada's NEO exchange. How is it another way to invest on the blockchain? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so up until this point in time, Daniela, we haven't had really great equity exposure plays in blockchain and cryptocurrency. Everyone's familiar with the Jobs Act, which is very restrictive. It's very frustrating. In fact, when we were raising money for Hedera Hashgraph HBAR, it was a Reg D offering. We were only able to take money from the highest net worth individuals, people who have over $1 million in investable assets, or I believe it's make more than $250,000 for the last 2 or 3 previous years. What we felt would be really interesting is bringing a portfolio of blockchain businesses like NFTcom, 1-800-Bitcoin, Immutable Asset Management, a CBDC, central bank digital currency business, putting it together in what we like to think of as the Berkshire Hathaway of blockchain and bringing that to public equity markets. So that's why we decided to go public now. You can buy Bitcoin mining companies. Those are publicly traded, Hive, Hut 8, Riot. I don't own any of those, but I know they're publicly traded. You can invest there. But and now Coinbase is public. So we're starting to see more blockchain public equity plays, but this is the first time that a true blockchain holding company is coming to public markets, and we're really excited to be that opportunity.
Okay, so NFTcom will be part of the umbrella of Immutable Holdings. Is that correct? Am I getting that?
That's right. So Immutable Holdings, obviously named after immutable ledger technology, which describes a blockchain and how it works. We have in there 6 subsidiary businesses, and one of those is NFTcom.
So let me ask you, good for you for securing NFTcom. When did you do that? How many years ago?
It's funny. People think it must have been like 10 years ago or 20
That's
years
what I
ago.
thought.
The guy that bought it had actually had it since the 90s, and he knew at a high level what blockchains were, and he knew what NFTs were, but NFTs weren't crazy. Daniela, we bought that in January, so it wasn't that long ago. It was January of this year. The amount that we paid has started to be speculated or reported. I won't confirm or deny the numbers, but it was a multi-million-dollar price tag. I do believe the domain is worth, a multiple of at least 10 times what we paid for it. And obviously it's not for sale. So everyone emailing us asking if it's for sale, it's not. You can stop emailing us, and we're developing a really exciting business there around it.
So, and the reason everyone wants it and it's so lucrative is because, and I'll use Paris Hilton as an example, because she would use NFTcom/Paris Hilton.
It's correct? A great question. It's a great question, but I think let's back up. A great way to think of domain names as they're the original NFT. Only one person can own Daniela.com. Maybe you've tried to buy that, and only one person can own NFT.com. So what we thought of is, wouldn't it be really cool is if everyone could own their own presence in this new digital world? On Facebook, believe it or not, you don't own your profile. On Twitter, believe it or not, you don't own your handle. They can actually take that back from you at any point in time. It's kind of like eminent domain, the government taking property when it wants to. It's kind of like eminent domain on social media. And in fact, there's a black market around Twitter handles. It's rumored that Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss paid upwards of $200,000 for twitter.com/Tyler and twitter.com/Cameron, which, by the way, Daniela, is a clear violation of Twitter's terms of service. So what we decided to do is, what if we issued everyone an NFT, which was a token that said you own NFT.com/Daniela. It's your name. Now you can either issue NFTs on that page. It could be like a Shopify or a storefront, or you can just simply display a gallery of all the NFTs that you've purchased previously. And we've got kind of both, whether you're a collector or a creator, we've got 2 different user flows. All of it will integrate into a marketplace, which we're really excited to start to tease out and roll out more. And this is all has been in development for a long time. We hope to be launching this shortly. Okay,
so it's not launched yet. Have celebrities already started contact you about this? Because we all know they're all involved in NFTs.
You would be blown away by who's contacted us. We've had other sharks on Shark Tank reach out. Not even knowing before Kevin was involved, not even knowing that he was involved. We've had several billionaires. We've had multi-billion-dollar companies reach out. We have tens of thousands of people. I believe we're now over 30,000 people on our wait list just to get into NFT.com, which is really exciting for any new blockchain project.
Wow. Okay. So enlighten me a bit, and this may seem like a silly question, but what would be the benefits? And let's use myself as an example. Why wouldn't I do Daniela NFT.com? Because SEO is better with NFT.com, Daniela?
Yeah, Yeah, so when you're talking about NFTs, you really need a pre-existing community or a pre-existing marketplace of people to tap into. So with NFT.com, we are building that community. We're building that hub of people that will come to NFT.com and they can communicate and they can transact and interact with each other. So whether you are issuing brand new NFTs or whether you have NFTs that you want to display, having the social credibility of it's NFT.com/your name, we're very confident that there's a lot of demand for that, and we've seen it. I mean, the first 5 or 10 profiles that you see are really world-class names. They're people with tens of millions of followers on social media, and we're really excited to be partnered with them.
So since the ringing of the bell on the Neo, it's obviously had a really welcome reception. What's next? New York Stock Exchange?
So it's funny you ask. This has been a long dream of mine. I was one of those nerdy kids. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and I had always wanted to be the CEO of a publicly traded company. I used to dress up in a suit and tie and pretend like I knew what I was reading when I was reading the financial press, like Investor Business Daily or the Financial Times that we had lying around the house. Going public was a really special experience, and we did it in Canada of all places. Canadian markets have been really progressive to not just blockchain and cryptocurrency, but to marijuana and psychedelics. And they're just more progressive than we are in this country. And they provide, their regulators bring much more regulatory clarity. I've been a big advocate. I know Kevin has been on your show talking about the need for compliance, the need for clear regulation in the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency. So while I'd love to come and bring this business to US capital markets, we really do need to partner with the regulators for them to make that possible. And today it's not.
Okay, let's talk about Kevin O'Leary and how that friendship happened and this partnership, because I've known him for over a decade now, and he was almost anti-crypto before. He's had a change of heart, tremendous change of heart since. How did that happen, or what do you think was the hook that really got him to invest in Immutable Holdings here?
Yeah, it happened in a really organic way. We had a bunch of mutual friends, and I was invited to a dinner that Kevin happened to be at, and that dinner turned into, I believe it was 4 nights in a row of dinners. And dinners with Kevin are a blast because Kevin can talk intelligently about a number of different things. That many people already know that because they see him on CNBC commenting on the need for anything, right? The clear regulation and renewable energies, all of that sort of stuff. So you can really talk to him for hours. I think the best thing was I wasn't pitching him. We had already raised our capital. We weren't in need of money. I knew he was now really building a name for himself in blockchain and cryptocurrency. It was around the Bitcoin Miami conference, and one night turned into 2 nights, turned into 3 nights, where finally he said, listen, we're not, we're really having great social dialogue. Let's meet during the daytime. We met for lunch at the Soho House in Miami, and we really started talking brass tacks, which is, Kevin is a really just an incredibly well-networked intellectual person who has been able to open up his Rolodex to us and help us. So for a company going public in a place where a guy who previously ran for prime minister is now involved, we've had a lot of benefit for him opening up his network.
Yeah, and besides Kevin, I mean, you work with YouTubers Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Kevin Pritchard, president of the NBA's Indiana Pacers. What are people looking for when they want to work with you? What's the future like, or what pathway do you think they're looking for?
Yeah, Daniela, this is really new for me because I've been a black sheep most of my life. I mean, I started my career running a VPN company, a virtual private network. And until Edward Snowden told the whole world that the government's spying on us, no one wanted a VPN. I used a VPN because I was living in Europe and I wanted to watch the American Netflix library and all of that. And then that's also how I got into crypto. So crypto, we were definitely black sheep in crypto. Everyone told me I was crazy for thinking we'd have this internet money thing that everyone would be using. But we've come to a point where every year crypto has become a little bit more acceptable. I attribute that to clear compliance and regulation, KYC, AML, there's really great companies that are working with governments to help enforce some of these policies on these decentralized networks, then we welcome this maturity into the ecosystem. As it's become more mainstream, young guys like myself get invited into really exciting conversations. So whether that's sitting in a room with the Monetary Authority of Singapore talking about their central bank digital currency, or consulting with NBA teams about non-fungible tokens and use cases that they can do. I got to pitch the CEO of Google Cloud, Thomas Curry, in 20 years for working for Larry Ellison as the president of Oracle, now running Google Cloud. And for a kid from Buffalo who's, trying to make a name for myself in blockchain, that's really like the pinnacle of excitement.
I'm happy you mentioned central bank digital currencies because you also own CBDC.com. And offline, we were having a conversation of how you think this discourse will become key. We already see central banks talking about digital currencies, the Fed here in the US, the ECB, China's central bank. What are your thoughts on, how far away we are from that reality?
So we've had digital currencies for a really long time, and we've had central bank digital currencies for a really long time. Most of the US money supply, most of the money supply globally is not actually paper money sitting in vaults, bank vaults. It's actually ones and zeros and databases that move around. Banks send it back and forth, and it's displayed when we log into our web apps or our mobile apps and we want to look at our bank balances. So not all central bank digital currencies are going to be blockchain related, which I think is kind of a big disappointment. There's a major opportunity here to bring new trust, transparency, and a whole new feature set to users. Specifically, users need two things and they're demanding it. In fact, if we look back to the 2008 financial crisis, it was really crypto came as a reactionary response to the financial crisis. There was a group of cyberpunks on internet forums that were like, hey, we need a form of money that just can't be printed at any point in time. We can't trust the banks. We need access to our money 24/7. If we issue a central bank digital currency on a blockchain, the populace, the people, will have insight into exactly what the money supply is at any point in time. You can do that on Bitcoin. You can see exactly how many Bitcoins are in circulation. You can do that on HBAR. You can see exactly how many HBARs are in circulation. But the second feature set is you have access to your money 24/7, 365. You can go log in if you don't keep it on an exchange, but if you actually keep a Bitcoin wallet using your public and private key pair, or using your HBAR wallet with a public and private key pair, you can access your funds around the clock. During the 2008 financial crisis, that was not the case. Banks close at the end of business on most business days. You have limits as to how much you can take out from ATM machines. It's really exciting to have a form of money that's cross-border, that's transportable, that's trusted, and not trusted because politicians say it's trusted, but that has real math and science behind it that proves that it is immutable, that it is scarce.
Jordan, I'm curious to get your thoughts. I mean, you were an early adopter of Bitcoin. You're coming out with a book in January called Bitcoin for Everyone. You've obviously embraced Bitcoin. Why didn't you become a Bitcoin maximalist, but obviously embraced other cryptos?
It's something that I get asked all the time. And the Bitcoin maximalists, right after I give the answer, typically chew me out on Twitter. Crypto Twitter is fun. I think you're starting to see the tribalism all over the place.
Oh, long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
there's so much more than just Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a fundamental breakthrough in computer science. It is one of the most important innovations in economics, but in also just the history of mankind. We have the first commodity that is scarce. And practically, Daniela, let's talk about the other four things you can have in your portfolio. Dollars, people can print dollars, money from anywhere in the world. Stock, you can have stock, public equities. People can print more stock. When Elon Musk wants to raise money, he can issue more shares. Immutable Holdings can issue more shares. So that's dilutive to the shareholders. And then gold and precious metals, they can always find more gold. If we start mining asteroids, who knows how much gold or silver or other precious minerals are up there. So with Bitcoin, we have a programmatic, we've got it baked into the algorithm, baked into the nodes on the network. We know that there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. It's a fundamental breakthrough and I love it. But with that said, people have taken inspiration from that technology and have improved. Hedera Hashgraph borrowed a lot of the really important concepts from Bitcoin and Ethereum and said, hey, these are really great founding principles, but what if we bound governance, really sound governance to the platform. And what we did is we married all the benefits of a decentralized network with a decentralized governing body. Our vision of that was, let's invite the biggest companies in the world to duke it out and fight with each other over what the features of this roadmap would be, what the fees to send currency back and forth. And Hedera is quickly becoming sort of the Ethereum for the enterprise. HBAR is really widely adopted by some of the biggest companies in the world. I'm no longer there. I still hold a lot of HBAR. I still care deeply about that network. And there's a lot of decentralized people in the ecosystem like me contributing to it, but there's so much more than just Bitcoin. Ethereum is a fantastic ecosystem as well. I have to tip my hat to the people that came before us. And we took a lot of inspiration and improved by implementing a lot of those improvements into Hedera.
Jordan, thank you for answering that, by the way. And please, cyber hornets, do not come after Jordan. I just want to wrap with your background, which I find fascinating. Like you said, you're from Buffalo. You had enrolled at the University of Buffalo. You later dropped out. Your parents are both entrepreneurs. You're one of 10 kids. But something that really resonated with me is, you say how you had moved to Hungary. You didn't speak the language. It was a foreign country, but you knew you couldn't fail. And it resonated with me because I feel like I've been in situations, not Hungary per se, but in places where you just can't fail. And it's almost where you have the greatest success. So when was it that you knew you were onto something? I mean, did you know that you were going to become the serial entrepreneur? I mean, if I asked, 16-year-old Jordan, would you be surprised to where you are at today?
I absolutely would be surprised that I'm where I am right now. I think I always thought I would get to this point. What I had to learn a lot of things along the way. Focus was probably the biggest. I have shiny object syndrome. So you can see it in our portfolio companies. A lot of the success I attribute to was really the mentality of, and I don't know who said this, but it's a great quote. If you want to take the island, burn the boats. Fitting that I'm on an island here in Puerto Rico. But if we moving to Hungary, I metaphorically burned my boats. I knew that at any point in time, I'm lucky to come from a middle-class family. I could have made a phone call to my parents and said, book me a one-way ticket back to America. But I was determined not to end up in my parents' basement sleeping on the couch. I knew that I had a limited amount of cash with me. Hungary was brilliant in that you can live for $500 US a month. At least you could back in 2010. I think things are a little bit different now. But I could really stretch out my personal runway. I kept my personal burn rate very low, and I was willing to work my tail off until I could really stand on my own 2 feet and start to build a business. It was a fortunate accident discovering that the internet is not the same everywhere. Access to information is something I'm very passionate about. Right behind food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, every single person on human earth deserves internet access and deserves the right to freedom of information. And with the VPN, we were able to, I could just, as a guy who missed Netflix and my Buffalo Bills, who I care deeply about and wanted to watch, I could also provide a service that would allow people to bypass geographic restrictions. In China, they can't use Google. They can't use Gmail. In Turkey, when there was a coup in the country, they literally shut down access to YouTube and Twitter and social media, so people couldn't couldn't organize and form protests. I believe that everyone deserves the right to an unrestricted internet. That's why the VPN just became a very fitting place. And turns out people who wanted VPNs wanted to pay for those VPNs in crypto. So in 2012, 2013, it's all been a very serendipitous set of really fortunate events, but as they say, when you're working really hard, effort can collide with opportunity, and I attribute that. Yep.
I love it. Who doesn't love a good success story? Continued success to you, Jordan. And you have a book coming out, Bitcoin for Everyone. So now we're going to add best-selling author, hopefully.
We certainly hope so. It is available on pre-sale on Amazon, and of course, Immutable Holdings is listed under the ticker HOLD. So. We've got a lot of exciting things going on, and I certainly hope for that bestseller accolade. So definitely buy the book.
All right. Keep us posted. We'll have you back when the book is released. Jordan, awesome thoughts. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you, Daniela.
And thank you so much for watching. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to StansberryInvestor.com. In the meantime, for premier content you can't get anywhere else, special offers, and a lot of other great stuff, don't forget to sign up for premier access at DanielaCambone.com. No NFT, just DanielaCambone.com. Thanks for watching.